I told you the inconsistency was coming, but I can explain, sort of. Whether or not that's a good explanation for you, watch and find out. What's going on, everybody? My name is Alex. This is a little thing that we call Jabber. And as I have said, we are the most consistently inconsistent YouTube channel that there is in existence. I can't think of any other YouTube review channel that is as inconsistent as I am. And for that, I don't apologize. I can't spend all of my time dedicated to making YouTube videos. Like I always say, I do it when I feel like it. So, sorry, take it or leave it. That's up to you. If you do take it and you're still subscribed to me, God, I love you. Anyway, as usual, let's start off with a beer. We got the Keeneland Fall Ale by Country Boy Brewing, which is right here in my hometown of Lexington, Kentucky. And it is themed after the Keeneland racetrack. I think they do 2 beers every year. They're seasonal for the good old horse racing meets that start in the spring and then start again in the fall. So there you go. If any of you give a shit. I work in it and I still sort of give a shit because I have to, but hey, that is what it is. Anyway, y'all know why we're here. Y'all know. I've been inconsistent, as I said I would, and that's fine. The reason I've been so inconsistent, I don't even remember when my last video was. I think it was the Weird Al trailer. I don't know. That's how inconsistent I am. But for good reason. I've been working on a lot of videos, mainly for the haunted house that I recently am doing ads for. Shooting and editing their video. There's a gnat in here. A gnat is ruining my video. Sorry. But yeah, anyway, I've been working on a bunch of videos for that haunted house. It's called Fright Nights. If you live in Lexington, you know Fright Nights. If you don't live in Lexington, I mean, you might not know Fright Nights. They did some campouts throughout the U.S. a couple years ago. Maybe you know them then. I don't know. You can look them up yourselves. I've been doing that. I cut a 4.5 hour long video that's going to be played while you're waiting in line to get into said attraction. So that has taken up most of my time, which is why I can't make videos at the current time, but I finished that and now here we are. I do, however, have time to watch all these fucking shows that everybody else has already reviewed. So I'm late to the party, which is, again, okay. Late to the party and reviewing. I watch them the day they come out, so whatever. I don't even know why I'm feeling the need to give you all this explanation. We're here to talk about Andor. Again, yet another divisive show from Disney Star Wars. Who would have thought? Everybody on the internet right now, it doesn't matter if it's Star Wars, Marvel, Game of Thrones, Rings of Power, fucking DC's in its own little whatever the hell world that is. But it seems to me, video games is another one. It's like nobody can really get along when it comes to literally anything that is coming out. It's one extreme or another. You either love it and you shit on everybody who hates it and think they're retarded, or you hate it and you shit on everybody who loves it and thinks that they're retarded. There's no in between. So let's break the mold here. Andor, we're going to review the first 4 episodes because episode 5 comes out tomorrow, and I guarantee you that I will not make a video until episode 8 comes out. Who knows? We will see what happens. Anyway, I Oddly enough, I watched the first 3 when they premiered while I was in Greece on vacation, because that's how much I love Star Wars. I took time out of my amazing Grecoian vacation to watch the first 3 episodes of Andor. And guess fucking what? I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. It's a slow burn, which again, I don't understand why all the fucking neckbeards on the internet complain at the fact that it is a slow burn and they have to actually pay attention to something. This is my biggest point that I try to make to all the neckbeards who call me retarded for enjoying something, because they lack the attention span to actually watch something. Granted, if slow burns aren't your thing, that's cool. If listening to dialogue confuses you and all you can handle is pew 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 pew, lightsabers force, Luke Skywalker, jizz everywhere, then that's fine too. I love it all, except Book of Boba Fett. This show, to me, for the premiere was a solid premiere. Yeah, it was slow, but slow for what? 2 episodes that are like maybe 40 minutes each? Oh my god, you can't handle an hour of fucking just build up? Does that bother you? Good lord, it all came out at once, and for good reason, because if they started with the first episode and had it like a normal premiere and you had to wait another week for episode 2, which was, even slower than episode 1, I would understand people's frustration to a point. Because there's, in the first 2 episodes, they kind of could have mashed them into 1 episode, just made it like an hour-long thing. But they're fucking solid, I don't understand, what the big deal is. I've heard it from both sides, oh my god, it's like Blade Runner in space. It's a fucking sci-fi show. They take inspiration from other things. Star Wars took inspiration from literally everything else. Star Wars is Dune, Metropolis, any 1930s sci-fi, Flash Gordon, anything. Everything influences each other, all right? Just because one director was like, yo, wouldn't it be cool if we opened up with this cool cyberpunk kind of thing? It's Star Wars. We went to a place we've never seen before. How the fuck do we know that there's not any cyberpunk elements to Star Wars? Look at the whole underbelly of Coruscant. Get the fuck out of here. You all just bitch to bitch, and that's all that there is. The amount of complaints that I hear on the internet about how Star Wars isn't intriguing enough. Star Wars is just pew 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 pew, Luke Skywalker, Force, lightsabers. Give me something other than that. They give you something other than that, and then you complain some more. It's just shut the fuck up and enjoy what you're getting. Granted, if you don't like something, fine. I didn't like the Book of Boba Fett. I still watched it though. Granted, and I enjoyed elements of it. But look, don't shit on everybody else for enjoying something, and don't shit on somebody else for not liking it. Even though I am currently shitting on people for not enjoying it, but I'm not shitting on you for not enjoying it. I'm shitting on your reasonings for not enjoying it, because those same people complain that there's not enough world building and enough character-driven stories. And then they give you a character-driven story and you're bored. Go watch a fucking Marvel movie or something if you want brainless entertainment. Fuck me. Anyway, I'm not here to bitch like that. I just had to get that off my chest because it literally makes no sense. Because this show, I'll agree with you. The first 2 episodes are very slow. And if that's not your thing, that's not your thing. I like that shit. I like spending time with a character. I like getting to know a character. I like getting to know the people around that character and the world. For you to say that a character or a story or a show is boring right off the bat out of 2 episodes, it's got 12 episodes. There's 10 left to go after that. Just let it breathe. let something breathe and build to the story that it's trying to tell. There's also 2 seasons of this fucking thing, so calm the fuck down. But yeah, fine, whatever. The first 2 episodes, a little slow, but I don't even know how you couldn't enjoy the beginning. Like, the first 2 minutes of that show are fucking awesome. I love that, like, underground espionage, you know, sneaky, conniving kind of shit. Like, that whole scene, the second it opens, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. I love the scenery. Maybe I like more cyberpunk stuff than you guys. I don't know. Maybe I like Blade Runner. Who doesn't like Blade Runner? I love Star Wars. I love sci-fi. That's what I was into. And like the second that it opens, like he kills 2 guys in cold blood, basically. Granted, they were being dicks and they probably deserved to die, but he ultimately killed them in cold blood. That showed you exactly who Andor is, exactly what the show's gonna be, and going forward, it's very consistent, unlike me, with its tone. I'm digging it. I fucking love it. And then episode 3 came around. Holy fucking shit. Y'all wanted action, there you go. And if that's not the action you like, then you don't like action stuff. Or you like a different kind of action. This was more of a boring, Mission Impossible kind of action, which is fine. The showrunner did all the Bourne movies, or at least wrote them, so, I mean, that's what he's known for. And then there's another thing to keep in mind. Look, I'm all over the place, but it's fine. There's another thing to keep in mind when this is just Americans here, because Americans have the attention span of squirrels, at least for the most part. They can't handle anything with intense dialogue that kind of throws you into it unless it's Game of Thrones because there's tits and incest. That they can pay attention to because they're fucking weirdos. This show is mainly written by British screenwriters. And that's the thing you gotta realize. In the UK versus America, they spend time writing and they throw you into things and that you have to figure it out as you go along. Watch Sherlock. 2 of the writers on this show, I'm pretty sure, 2 of the directors of this show directed episodes of Sherlock, maybe only 1, I don't know. Sherlock, Doctor Who, Game of Thrones, all of these are very British produced shows. I would have to look up. I'm pretty sure all 4 directors of this show are British. And that's just how British TV is. It's a lot slower. It's a lot more involved with characters. And that's why that they're doing this show and why it's so good. I'm not saying British television is better than American television. There's some British stinkers. I, for one, fucking hate Doctor Who. I can't get into it. Never have been able to get into it. I think it's the most, boring sci-fi show that I've ever seen. Granted, I've only seen a handful of episodes, but I just can't get into it. It's way too British for me. But at the same time, I love Sherlock. Luther is amazing. And I'm a huge fan of Monty Python, which Monty Python has nothing to do with this at all. Whatever. I love Game of Thrones as well, which is why I like a good slow burn, because House of the Dragon, which I'm going to have to do a separate video about, is incredible. I finally came to that realization last night, which I'm going to make a whole other video about House of the Dragon. I might just wait until the season's wrapped up and just do a whole thing there. But anyway, back to Andor. I'm frustrated with how people are kind of perceiving Andor, at least the people that I've talked to, I don't know, it's been a mixed bag. The reviews that people have tried to bombard me with have been nothing but boomers just complaining for the sake of complaining. I haven't really heard the only critique that I've heard is that it's too slow, or that the characters aren't interesting enough. It's been 4 episodes. And they said this before the 4th episode came out. It's been 3 episodes. It was 3 episodes in. And they were already saying that the show was boring, uninteresting, and the characters sucked, and that they didn't care about it. Those same people who said this love Game of Thrones. Does anybody remember the first season of Game of Thrones? I do. I watched it 4 times. Just because it was my first time seeing it, and I had to get used to the characters and the way that it was building up. Granted, Bran gets pushed out of a window and at the end of the first episode, so that kind of sets you up for, whatever. It's a slow fucking show. I couldn't even get into half the characters until like midway through the 2nd season. I still watched it. Breaking Bad's the same fucking way. Honestly, like, I didn't really get invested into Breaking Bad until like season 3. I liked it and I kept watching it because I was curious to where the show was going, but I really wasn't as invested in it until season 3. That's when I really was like, oh my God, this show is unfucking believable. So my point here is give it time. Just let the show breathe. If you don't want to watch it week to week, just wait till the whole thing's out. And if you're worried about spoilers, stay the fuck off the internet because you're probably better off anyway. Anyway, I'll try to break down the story as best I can. I don't know. I'm bad with reviews. This is why I don't do well on the internet or YouTube or why I'm so inconsistent. Whatever. Who cares? You got Andor doing his thing. I love seeing the flashbacks. I'll get to a point that I'm thinking of in a second, which is one of the stupidest things that I've ever heard. And it came from a friend of mine. So if he sees this, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, I am, but I'm not. But that was a dumb fucking thing to say. And I don't know how. You'll see what I mean. I love the back and forth between Andor as an adult and seeing the flashbacks of him as a kid on that planet. I don't remember the name of the planet that he's from off the top of my head. But that tribal side to Star Wars, that primitive side, I thought was really cool, seeing these kids. But where the fuck are the adults at? Who's raising these kids? Are they raising each other? Like, where did these kids come from? That's what I want to know. But I like that. I like seeing how he saw the Empire as a kid and how they killed his mentor basically, or this woman, this girl that he looked up to. And then flashing back, it's almost, they did the side by side of what's going on in the future, and it's kind of a parallel to what was happening to him as a kid. And it's a really cool, back and forth. I liked it. The stupidest point that I heard came from a friend of mine, and he said that he couldn't tell when it was a flashback and when it was in the present. I don't know how. They I don't understand. You must have not been paying attention, because it clearly cuts from him as an adult to a similar shot of him as a kid and then somebody calling him Cassie. How the fuck could you not determine the two? Honestly, how could you? I mean, I don't get it. This is the thing with Star Wars people. And he's not even a Star Wars person. I am a Star Wars person. But that's the thing. It's people can't pay attention. But those same people will pay attention to Game of Thrones in very complicated dialogue. Watching Game of Thrones with my now fiance, which by the way I got engaged in Greece. Woohoo. We have to rewind Game of Thrones. I'll watch every episode twice just so she can understand the dialogue, because I don't feel like explaining what the dialogue means to her. And she still doesn't get it. Which, granted, she's not a Star Wars person, but you can't fucking just pay attention. It's not like it's that hard of dialogue to follow. It's very easy to follow. I thought the show was very easy to follow from start to where we are now in episode 4, which, by the way, if you didn't like the first 3 episodes, fine. I don't know how the fuck you couldn't have liked episode 4. That episode was unbelievable to me as a Star Wars fan, because I know the lore, I understand what they're saying. But the Old Republic references, Stellan Skarsgård is the best addition to Star Wars I have ever seen since Disney took over. That motherfucker is great in everything, and his whole dynamic with Andor and how he's starting the rebellion, but he's also this like Imperial arms dealer, or not arms dealer, but like antique dealer, and his thing with Mon Mothma, like the whole brewing of the rebellion underneath the Empire's noses without them even really giving a shit or noticing, because they think that because you know, they're so fat and happy and satisfied, they don't even care. That shit was so good. I don't understand how you could still hate the show. Like, yeah, I could understand if you're still like lukewarm to it, but like at that point, like, dude, that's good Star Wars stuff. That's good dialogue. That's good stuff. This is like the time period that I've always really been curious about, besides Old Republic and anything after the god awful Rise of Skywalker. Like, I want to see like pre-Empire or pre-Clone Wars, pre-Phantom Menace, that era, like High Republic. Excuse me. I want to see High Republic, Old Republic. I would love to go there, which I know the Acolyte is going to go there if that show is even going to fucking happen. Who knows? It's Kathleen Kennedy. She could fire the entire team right when they start shooting, and, you know, that'll be the end of that. But anyway, I want to see that kind of stuff. And then I want to see like 100 or 200 years after episode 9. I want to have like no connection to any characters that we know. I want new Star Wars content in this era. Episode 3 to episode 4, the like height of the Empire. I love that. I've always wanted to see like how the Empire controlled everything. And that's definitely what we're getting in this show. And that episode was very Imperial heavy. And that, oh my God, I ate up every single bit of it. I can't help it. I love it. I love all of it. And I love seeing Coruscant under Imperial rule. When they showed Coruscant on screen and it said little lower third, it said Coruscant in there, I got a goddamn tear in my eye. Why? Why would I cry? Not cry, but why would I get all emotional over a fucking planet? I don't know. It was fucking awesome to see. And seeing like the Imperial, like, whatever their like FBI headquarters is, essentially. What's it called? The IBS or some shit like that. Oh, the Imperial Bureau of Security or something. Dude, that shit's cool. I don't understand. Like, maybe it's just me, and this is my personal opinion, and that's fine. I'm just really struggling to realize or understand what people are actually butthurt about. Is it because every episode is different and is progressing towards a larger story, and you're just so used to being comfortable in your bubble of The Mandalorian having the exact same episode every episode with a different rapper on it? Or what? And that wasn't me shitting on The Mandalorian. I love The Mandalorian, and it's good for what that purpose is. But finally getting a Star Wars show where every episode leads to the next episode and builds to a different, to like a larger plot, is so refreshing to see for me. I loved it. I loved everything about it so far. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. That's fine. But I've loved every episode. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. I even, you know, I talk to people online all the time. Talking is a very skewed word when you mean the internet. I'm talking, other people are just like kind of bitching at me for enjoying something, and they just are sad. I don't know what's wrong with most people, but I've loved everything about it. Even the non-Star Wars looking guns. Oh my god, those guns look like real guns. Oh my god. How could they ever do this? Do they even know what's going on in Star Wars? Those guns look like AK-47s. But Han Solo's pistol is a literal fucking Nazi pistol from World War II. That doesn't bother you. You know what I think the problem is? I think people have just been so spoiled and not even spoiled. Their brains have been turned to mush by just the aggravation that the sequel trilogy was, which I get, man. I didn't like it either. Though after it was over, I liked when they were coming out individually, except episode 9. But after many years of contemplation, I didn't like them either. But just like we're getting better Star Wars content, Andor is by far in 4 episodes better than anything that they've done besides like Mandalorian season 2. And honestly, the only reason that Mando season 2 got such high praise was because of the last episode with Luke. Like, if Luke didn't pop up in the last episode, people would have probably still liked it. I would have liked it too. I didn't really need Luke to pop up. But just because of that little appearance, everybody went, oh my God, this is the greatest show of all time. They put Luke Skywalker back in Star Wars. Gah! And then it's the best show of all time. This show is better, in my opinion, because it's different. Because it's telling a story, because it's building towards something, and because there's, not yet at least, but there's no mention of anybody that we're used to seeing all the time. It's so refreshing. That's my consensus right now, is that it is refreshing. It's a breath of fresh air. I've been smelling the fucking roses since it debuted. And if you don't like it, that's cool. Let me know in the comments below, because that's as much talking as I feel like doing right now. So, if you could sit through my entire babbling, bombastious review, I don't even think that's a word, that's cool. Thank you for listening to me talk about absolutely nothing. I went nowhere with this. And that's what my reviews are. I told you I loved it. I loved it. That's all you really need to know. Make the decisions for yourselves. Leave a comment. Hit that subscribe button. Fucking hump your way into hump day. Because that's tomorrow and we got episode 5 of Andor. Which I'm pretty fucking pumped about. Until then, drink a beer. I have a pot of chili that I'm going to make. And I'm going to play some video games. Another series that is very divisive on the internet, Assassin's Creed. So, see ya.